The vast emptiness of space surrounded the survey vessel Endeavour as it drifted through the outer reaches of the Epsilon system. Captain Alan Foster sat in his command chair, eyes fixed on the main view screen. His ship had been mapping this unexplored region for 3 weeks now, and the crew was eager to return home. "Captain, I'm picking up an anomaly," said Lieutenant Susan Miller from her station. Her fingers moved quickly across the control panel. "It's big, sir. Really big." Alan leaned forward. On screen, the image shifted to show what looked like a ripple in space itself. Before their eyes, the ripple tore open, and through it emerged the largest spacecraft any of them had ever seen. It was massive, easily 20 times the size of the Endeavour, with a design that seemed to defy human understanding of physics. "What am I looking at, Lieutenant?" Alan asked, his voice steady despite the shock. "Unknown vessel, sir, not in any Earth database." Susan's eyes widened as more data came in. It's giving off energy readings that our instruments can barely measure." Communications Officer Eric Lang turned from his console. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission. They're trying to establish contact." The bridge fell silent. Humanity had speculated about first contact for centuries, but now that the moment had arrived, no one quite knew what to do. Alan took a deep breath. "Open a channel." The view screen flickered, and the image of a reptilian being appeared. It had scales that shimmered with an iridescent green hue, 4 yellow eyes set in a wide face, and what appeared to be breathing tubes along its neck. "Greetings, Earth vessel," the alien said in perfect English, shocking everyone on the bridge. "I am Commander Shratok of the Krizat Empire. We have been observing your species for some time." Alan stood up straight. "This is Captain Alan Foster of the Earth vessel Endeavour. We come in peace and seek friendship with all spacefaring civilizations." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "How quaint. Your species always says the same thing when encountering superior forces. We've been monitoring your communications for decades." The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. "We mean no disrespect," Alan continued, "but Earth has developed significant defensive capabilities. We would prefer peace, but we are prepared to defend ourselves if necessary." This time, Shratok definitely laughed, a hissing sound that sent chills down Alan's spine. "You misunderstand, Captain. We are not here to negotiate. The Krizat Empire rules this sector of the galaxy. Your planet has resources we desire, and you will provide them in exchange for our protection." Alan felt his face flush. "Earth is a sovereign planet. We don't require protection, and we don't surrender our resources to threats." "Show them," Alan said quietly to Susan. Susan nodded and transmitted the data package they had prepared for. First contact scenarios. A demonstration of Earth's military capabilities, including nuclear arsenals, orbital defense platforms, and the newly developed antimatter torpedoes. Shratok's officers gathered around him, examining the data. Then, to the humans' surprise, they all began making that same hissing laugh. "Captain Foster," Shratok said, wiping at his eyes, "your weapons are amusing. These nuclear devices, we use similar technology to power our smallest shuttlecraft. Your railguns? Projectile weapons became obsolete to us 5,000 years ago." He gestured to something off-screen. "Let me show you a fraction of our capabilities." The view screen split to show a barren moon, orbiting a distant gas giant. A small beam of light shot from the Krizat ship toward the moon. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the entire moon began to vibrate, its surface rippling like water. Within seconds, the moon collapsed in on itself, crushed by what appeared to be an artificially generated gravity well. The bridge crew of the Endeavour watched in stunned silence as an entire moon was reduced to a dense ball of rock the size of a small asteroid. "That was our lowest power setting," Shratok said casually. "Now shall we discuss the terms of Earth's entry into the Galactic Concord as a protectorate?" Alan sank back into his chair, his mind racing. "We'll need to consult with Earth's governments before making any decisions." "Of course," Shratok nodded. "We are not barbarians. You have 30 of your Earth days to prepare your planet for integration. We will accompany you back to your homeworld." After the transmission ended, The bridge remained silent for several long minutes. "Orders, sir?" Susan finally asked. Alan stared at the massive alien ship. "Set course for Earth maximum speed, and prepare a full report for the Security Council." As the Endeavour began its journey home, Security Officer Paul Harris approached the captain. "Sir, there was something odd about their weapon demonstration," he said quietly. "Beyond the fact that they crushed a moon like it was a paper cup?" Alan replied, "Yes, sir. I've been analyzing the energy readings. They used incredible power, but their method was inefficient, almost wasteful. They have amazing technology, but they seem to rely entirely on brute force." Lieutenant Miller joined them, nodding in agreement. "I noticed that too. Their shields appear to be designed to stop energy weapons far more advanced than ours, but I'm not sure they would be as effective against kinetic impacts or certain frequencies we use in our communication systems." Alan looked between his officers. "Are you suggesting there might be weaknesses we could exploit?" "Not weaknesses exactly," Paul said thoughtfully. "More like blind spots. Things they've evolved past and don't consider threats anymore." Alan rubbed his chin. "Keep analyzing that data. Don't share your findings over any channel the Krezat might monitor." As Earth grew larger in their view screen days later, Alan couldn't shake the feeling that humanity was about to face its greatest challenge. The Krezat might laugh at human weapons now, but one thing humans had always excelled at was adaptation, and sometimes being underestimated was the greatest advantage of all. 6 months had passed since first contact. Earth had reluctantly joined the Galactic Concord as a protectorate, the lowest tier of membership. The massive Krezat embassy now towered over New York City, a constant reminder of humanity's new place in the cosmic hierarchy. Jack Reynolds adjusted his tie as he waited outside the Concord assembly chamber. As Earth's ambassador, he had spent months trying to improve humanity's standing with little success. Today was another attempt, a demonstration of Earth's newest defensive technologies before the Military Affairs Committee. "Ambassador Reynolds, they're ready for you," said his assistant Kathy. Jack nodded and entered the grand chamber. Representatives from 27 spacefaring species sat in rising tiers, most looking bored already. The Krezat War Minister Gravosh dominated the central platform, his 4 yellow eyes barely glancing at Jack. "The human delegate may present," Gravosh announced, his voice echoing through the chamber. Jack stepped forward. "Honorable representatives of the Concord, Earth has made significant advances in our defensive capabilities. We believe these developments warrant reconsideration of our protectorate status," he gestured, and the holographic display activated, showing Earth's newest space vessel. The Guardian-class defense ship includes our latest advancements in shield, technology and weapons systems. Its main cannon uses focused antimatter streams to— "Excuse me," interrupted Gravosh with that familiar hissing laugh. "Are you suggesting this vessel could stand against even a scout ship from any Tier 3 civilization?" Murmurs of amusement rippled through the chamber. Jack kept his composure. "We understand our technology is still developing, but your shield technology cannot even deflect a standard graviton pulse," Gravosh said. "Your weapons would be absorbed by our outer defense layers before they could register on our sensors." A blue-skinned delegate from the Norian faction leaned forward. "Perhaps we should give the humans credit for their progress. They've only known about interstellar travel for a decade." "Thank you, Delegate Trell," Jack said with a nod. Gravosh waved a dismissive hand. The Norians would do well to remember their place as well. His gaze fixed on Jack. Humans should focus on what they're good at: art, music, and servile labor. Leave military matters to species who have evolved beyond throwing rocks. The chamber filled with laughter. Jack's face burned, but he maintained his diplomatic smile. "I appreciate the committee's time," he said stiffly before leaving the chamber. Back at the Earth Embassy, Jack threw his datapad onto his desk in frustration. "Another productive day?" asked Dr. Olivia Martinez, who was waiting in his office. "They treated us like children showing off crayon drawings," Jack said. Gravosh called our military charming trinkets off the record. Olivia's expression remained calm. "Perhaps that's not entirely bad." Jack looked at her with surprise. Being a cosmic joke is our strategy now. Being underestimated has its advantages, she said. I need you to approve something, Jack. The Luna Base project needs more resources quietly. The research station? I thought that was just studying alien propulsion systems. Olivia glanced at the door to make sure it was closed. It's more than that now. We've been analyzing Krezat technology from a different angle. They're centuries ahead, yes. But they've developed along a specific technological path. They've forgotten alternatives. Jack leaned closer. What do you mean? They rely entirely on energy manipulation, shields, gravity weapons, faster than light drives. But they've abandoned physical countermeasures as primitive. When was the last time they had to defend against a kinetic weapon? A computer virus? A biological agent? That's because those are obsolete against their technology, Jack argued, are they? Or have they just not faced those threats in so long they've stopped defending against them? Olivia pulled out a secure tablet and showed Jack some data. Their ships can crush moons but have almost no point defense systems for small, fast-moving objects. Their computer systems are advanced but have no safeguards against certain types of intrusion because no one in the Concord uses those methods anymore. Jack studied the data with growing interest. You're saying we should fight differently, not try to catch up. Exactly. We need to think like humans, not like Krezat. Meanwhile, at Luna Base, Commander Peter Wilson watched as technicians tested a new weapon in the vacuum chamber. The device looked primitive, a simple railgun that accelerated tungsten rods. But these weren't ordinary projectiles. Test firing in 3, 2, 1, announced the range officer. The weapon fired silently in the vacuum. The rod struck the target, small section of hull material provided by the Krezat during a technology exchange program. To the Krezat, it was worthless scrap, outdated by centuries. The rod should have bounced off the alien alloy. Instead, it penetrated completely, leaving a clean hole. Peter smiled. Increase power by 20% and fire again. On the other side of the moon, another team worked on a different project. Computer specialist Ben Johnson inserted a data chip into a salvaged Krezat communications device. Running infiltration sequence now, he said. The alien device's lights flickered, then stabilized, now completely under human control. Total bypass of their security in under 10 seconds, noted his colleague, Grace Liu. They never even considered. Someone might try to access their systems this way. Back in New York, Jack approved Olivia's request for additional resources. How long before any of this is operational, he asked. We've already started limited production, she replied. But we're keeping everything off the official records. Let the Krezat think we're still trying to copy their energy weapons. Let them laugh at our charming trinkets. Jack nodded slowly. I'll keep playing the humble representative. As he looked out his window at the towering Krezat embassy, Jack wondered what they would think if they knew what was happening on the far side of the moon. Humanity's weapons were still a joke to the galaxy, but not for much longer. 5 years after first contact, tensions in the Galactic Concord had reached a breaking point. The powerful Nourian faction had grown tired of Krezat domination and was openly challenging their authority. Several minor species had aligned with the Nourians, while others remained loyal to the Krezat. The galaxy was on the edge of war. On Earth, most humans continued their daily lives under Krezat protection, unaware of what was happening in the deeper regions of space. But in underground facilities and secret installations across the solar system, Project Prometheus was entering its final phase. Commander Peter Wilson stood in the control room of the asteroid base, hidden in the belt. Around him, engineers and officers monitored screens displaying the status of Earth's new fleet. The ships looked almost primitive from the outside, boxy and utilitarian, nothing like the sleek Krezat vessels. That was exactly the point. Status report, Peter said to his executive officer, Major Frank Davis. All 20 ships are ready. Sir, Frank replied. Crews are at full readiness, weapons systems green across the board. Peter nodded. And the Krezat monitoring stations? Still blind to our activities. Their sensors continue to register only mining operations in this sector. A communication officer turned from her station. Sir, we're receiving an encrypted transmission from Luna Base. The main screen activated, showing Dr. Olivia Martinez's face. The Norian ambassador has confirmed, she said without preamble. The Krizat fleet is moving toward Proxima Centauri. They plan to crush the Norian forces gathered there. Peter checked the tactical display. The Krizat expect an easy victory. They're sending only 15 ships against the Norians' 10. Quality over quantity, Frank murmured. Even 10 Norian ships don't stand a chance against Krizat warships. Unless they have help, Peter said. He turned back to the screen. Doctor, is Ambassador Reynolds in position? Olivia nodded. He's aboard the Krizat diplomatic vessel as an observer. They still think we're trying to curry favor by supporting their side. Perfect. Peter turned to his crew. This is what we've been preparing for. The Krizat and Norians will be focused on each other. Neither of them will be expecting us. He pressed a button on the command console. All ships, this is Commander C. Wilson. Operation Trojan Horse is now active. Launch when ready. Throughout the asteroid belt, hidden bay doors slid open. 20 unmarked ships emerged, their engines glowing a dull red as they accelerated toward Proxima Centauri. 2 days later, the Krizat fleet arrived at Proxima Centauri, finding the Norian ships in defensive formation around the system's habitable planet. The Krizat War Minister Gravosh observed from the bridge of his flagship. 10 ships, he said with a dismissive hiss. They truly believe they can challenge us with 10 ships. His second-in-command bowed. They are arrogant, Minister. Shall we open communications before we destroy them? Yes. Let them beg for mercy. It might amuse me. Gravosh noticed Jack Reynolds standing quietly at the rear of the bridge. Ambassador, you should pay close attention. This is how a proper military power maintains galactic order. Jack nodded respectfully. I am honored to witness the Krizat military might, Minister. The communications officer established a link with the Norian flagship. The blue-skinned Admiral Trell appeared on screen. War Minister Gravosh, Trell said calmly. The Norian Confederation does not seek conflict, but we will no longer accept Krizat dominance. We demand equal standing in the Concord. Gravosh laughed. Demands? From you? Your entire fleet is no match for even half of mine. Surrender now, and perhaps we will only execute your military leadership rather than bombarding your homeworlds. Trell's expression didn't change. We decline your generous offer, Minister. Then you will be destroyed. Gravosh cut the transmission. Target their flagship first, maximum power. The Krizat ships moved into attack formation, their weapon systems charging. Gravosh settled into his command chair, looking forward to a quick and decisive victory. Sensors suddenly blared warnings across the bridge. Minister, the tactical officer called out. Multiple ships approaching from the outer system. Norian reinforcements? Gravosh asked. Unknown configuration. Sir, 20 vessels moving fast. Jack Reynolds checked his personal device discreetly. Right on schedule. The tactical officer's voice rose in pitch. Sir, they're launching projectiles. Gravosh waved a dismissive hand. Physical weapons. Activate secondary shields and ignore them. Focus on the Norian ships. Yes, Minister. The bridge crew returned their attention to the Norian fleet. No one seemed concerned about primitive projectile weapons that would harmlessly bounce off their shields. The first tungsten rod, traveling at nearly relativistic speed, passed through the Krizat shields as if they weren't there. It punched through the hull of the nearest destroyer, continuing straight through to exit the other side. The ship didn't explode dramatically. It simply went dark as critical systems failed. Before anyone could react, hundreds more rods struck the Krizat fleet. Ships began losing power across the formation. What is happening? Gravosh roared. How are they penetrating our shields? The tactical officer worked frantically at his console. The shields aren't registering any energy weapons, sir. These are just metal objects moving extremely fast. On the Krizat flagship's bridge, monitoring screens began flickering. Strange symbols appeared, then disappeared. We're being hacked, the communications officer reported in disbelief. Something is bypassing our firewalls using It can't be. They're using communication protocols that haven't been used in the galaxy for thousands of years. Gravosh turned to Jack, his yellow eyes wide with shock. What is this? Are these human weapons? Jack met his gaze calmly. You called our weapons a joke, Minister. You never considered that we might not try to copy your technology but instead find ways around it. Outside, the human ships moved in perfect coordination with the Nourian vessels, trapping the Krezat fleet in a crossfire. More projectiles streaked across space, targeting engines and weapon systems with precision. Minister, the tactical officer reported, 5 of our ships are completely disabled. 4 more have lost weapons control. We can't target the attacking vessels. For the first time in his long military career, War Minister Gravosh felt something unfamiliar. Fear. Human. Weapons had been a joke. They weren't laughing anymore. News of the Battle of Proxima Centauri spread across the galaxy like wildfire. For the first time in centuries, a Krezat fleet had been defeated. Even more shocking was who had helped the Nourians achieve this victory. Humans, the galaxy's newest and supposedly weakest species. The Krezat Grand Council called an emergency session. War Minister Gravosh, his scales dull with shame, stood before his peers. How could primitive humans defeat our most advanced warships? Demanded the Krezat Supreme Leader. Gravosh struggled to maintain his composure. They did not defeat us through superior technology, Leader. They exploited oversights in our defenses. Explain these oversights, the leader hissed. A science. Officer stepped forward, displaying holographic images of the damaged Krezat ships. Their main weapons were simple kinetic projectiles, metal rods accelerated to near light speed. Our shields are designed to stop energy weapons, not physical objects. We abandoned point defense systems against such attacks thousands of years ago, when energy shields made them obsolete. Against any civilized species, they are obsolete, Gravosh added. No one in the Concord has used such crude methods in millennia. Yet, they worked, the leader noted coldly. There's more, the science officer continued. Human hackers used ancient communication protocols to bypass our cybersecurity. Again, our defenses were built to stop modern intrusion methods, not outdated techniques no advanced species would consider using. The Supreme Leader's eyes narrowed. These humans think differently than us. Yes, agreed Gravosh reluctantly. They are adaptable in ways we had not anticipated. They saw our strengths and found ways around them rather than trying to match us directly. Meanwhile, on the Nourian homeworld, a very different meeting was taking place. Ambassador Jack Reynolds and Commander Peter Wilson sat across from Admiral Trell and the Nourian Leadership Council. The Krezat have dominated our galaxy for too long, Trell said. Your assistance has changed everything. The Nourian Confederation formally offers Earth full alliance status. Jack smiled diplomatically. We appreciate your offer, Admiral. Earth simply wants equal standing in the Galactic Concord. We believe all species should have a voice. And if the Krezat refuse to change the power structure? Asked one of the Nourian counselors. Then perhaps the structure needs to be rebuilt, Peter suggested. Back on Earth, Dr. Olivia Martinez led a team of engineers examining a captured Krezat ship. Unlike previous technology exchanges where the Krezat shared only obsolete equipment, this was a fully functional warship with its advanced systems intact. Their technology is still centuries beyond ours, Olivia told her assistant Chris White. But now we know their blind spots. Chris nodded, studying a holographic display of the Krezat shield systems. They're so focused on energy manipulation that they've completely forgotten about physical countermeasures. It's like they evolved past the idea that something could just hit them. Exactly, Olivia said. Their entire civilization has developed along a single technological path, becoming more and more specialized. Humans, on the other hand, are generalists. We try everything, keep what works, and remember the old ways even as we develop new ones. She walked over to a workbench where engineers were examining what looked like a simple missile casing. They scanned for energy signatures, radioactive materials, antimatter, all the things advanced weapons should have. They don't even register our Trojan horse missiles as weapons because they contain none of those things. Just dormant nanites that activate after passing through their shields, Chris added with a smile. And the Faraday disruptors were pure genius, Olivia continued, using their own shield frequencies to create resonance that turns their defense systems against themselves. 2 weeks after the battle, the Galactic Concord convened an emergency session. The massive chamber was tense, as representatives from all 27 spacefaring species gathered. For the first time, Earth had been granted a prime position on the speaking floor rather than the observer section. Ambassador Jack Reynolds stood before the assembly, with Commander Peter Wilson and Dr. Olivia Martinez flanking him. Across the chamber, War Minister Gravash watched them with cold yellow eyes. The recent conflict at Proxima Centauri was regrettable, Jack began. Earth did not seek war with the Krezat Empire. We sought only equality and respect in the galactic community. Murmurs spread through the assembly. The Krezat delegation shifted uncomfortably. For years, our weapons were mocked as primitive. Our technology was dismissed as childish. We were treated as a curiosity, not as equals. Jack's voice grew stronger. You misunderstood us. Humans don't build weapons the way you do because we evolved differently. Our planet's history forced us to become adaptable, creative, and yes, sometimes deceptive. Jack gestured to the viewing screen, which displayed images of Earth's history, from stone tools to nuclear weapons, showing the rapid development of human military technology. You built your weapons with superior technology. We built ours to exploit weaknesses you didn't know you had. That is the human advantage. We see things differently. The chamber remained silent as Jack continued. Earth does not seek dominance. We don't want to replace Krezat rule with human rule. We propose a new balance of power in the Concord, where all species contribute their unique perspectives and abilities. Gravash finally rose from his seat. The assembly tensed, expecting an angry rebuttal. Instead, the War Minister's voice was measured. The Krezat Empire acknowledges the effectiveness of human tactics, he said carefully. We have perhaps become complacent in our technological superiority. The humans have reminded us that evolution takes many paths, and diversity of approach can be strength, not weakness. He turned to face Jack directly. We propose not subjugation but alliance. The Krezat can offer advanced technology. Humans can offer creative applications. Together, we may reach heights neither could achieve alone. The assembly erupted in surprised conversation. Jack exchanged glances with Peter and Olivia, then stepped forward again. Earth would welcome such an alliance, War Minister. Not as junior partners, but as equals. Gravash inclined his head slightly. Equals. As the formal proceedings continued, Olivia leaned close to Peter. They're afraid of us now, she whispered. Peter shook his head. Not afraid, respectful. There's a difference. Jack rejoined them as the assembly took a recess. This is just the beginning, he said quietly. The real work starts now. At least they're not laughing anymore, Olivia noted. Peter smiled. No, they're definitely not laughing now. 1 year had passed since the Battle of Proxima Centauri changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The Galactic Concord had been reformed, with all 27 species now having equal representation. The Krezat remained influential, but no longer dominated galactic politics. Earth had risen from a protectorate to a full member, respected for its unique contributions. Captain Lisa Chen stood on the bridge of the newly commissioned Starship Defender, the first vessel to combine human innovation with Krezat advanced technology. Unlike the plain, boxy ships of Project Prometheus, the Defender was sleek and impressive, but its true strength remained hidden beneath its elegant exterior. Status report, Lisa said as they approached the massive space station that served as Concord headquarters. All systems operational, Captain, replied her executive officer, Steve Cooper. Our arrival is right on schedule for the military summit. Lisa nodded, taking a moment to appreciate how much had changed. Just a year ago, humans wouldn't have even been invited to such an important gathering, let alone asked to lead a presentation. As the Defender docked at the station, Lisa saw ships from all across the galaxy. The distinctive crystal vessels of the Norians floated alongside the organic-looking ships of the plant-based Vren species. And of course, the imposing black warships of the Krizat maintained their perfect formation nearby. Lisa and her team were greeted by an honor guard as they entered the station. Among them stood War Minister Gravosh, his scales now adorned with new insignia reflecting the changed political landscape. "Captain Chen," he said with a formal bow. "The Concord welcomes Earth's delegation to the military summit." Lisa returned the gesture. "War Minister, we're honored to participate." As they walked toward the conference chamber, Gravosh spoke quietly. "Your ship, the Defender, our sensors detect unusual configurations, not standard Krizat designs." "No," Lisa agreed. "Not standard anything. We've been learning from everyone while adding our own perspective." Gravosh made a sound that might have been a chuckle. "Still keeping secrets, Captain? Even from allies?" "Not secrets," Lisa replied. "Just options." The military summit gathered military leaders from all conquered species. The chamber was arranged in a circle, with no species given prominence over others, a visible symbol of the new equality. Admiral Kevin Bradley of Earth Fleet opened the proceedings. A year ago, the galaxy witnessed something unprecedented, a successful defense against what was considered unbeatable technology. But the lesson wasn't that one approach is superior to another. The lesson was that diversity of thought creates strength. He gestured to the holographic display in the center of the chamber. "Today we're not here to show off weapons or compare fleet sizes. We're here to discuss how our different evolutionary paths have created different approaches to the same problems and how together we can be stronger than apart." The display shifted to show scientific data from various worlds. The Krizat evolved on a planet with intense radiation, leading them to develop incredible energy manipulation technology. The Norians from an ocean world created unmatched propulsion systems. The Vren, being plant-based, developed organic technology we're only beginning to understand. Admiral Bradley turned to where Lisa sat with her team, and humans from a planet of constant environmental changes and predators developed adaptability and out-of-the-box thinking. War Minister Gravosh stood next. "The Krizat Empire has existed for 10,000 years. In all that time, we believed our way was superior. We were wrong." He looked around the chamber. "Not inferior, but incomplete. There is value in perspectives we had forgotten." The summit continued for 3 days, with each species sharing unique approaches to defense, exploration, and technology. Lisa presented Earth's latest innovations, no longer hidden but offered as contributions to the Conquered's shared knowledge. On the final day, Lisa found herself in one of the station's observation lounges, looking out at the assembled fleet of ships. Dr. Olivia Martinez joined her at the window. "Quite a view," Olivia said. "Hard to believe where we were just 6 years ago." Lisa nodded. "I was a junior officer on the Endeavor when we first encountered the Krizat. I remember Captain Foster's face when they crushed that moon as a demonstration. And now? Now we're teaching them things," Lisa said with a small smile. "And they're teaching us. It's a better arrangement." Commander Peter Wilson entered the lounge accompanied by War Minister Gravosh. The two had developed an unlikely professional respect over the past year. "Captain Chen, Dr. Martinez," Peter greeted them. The War Minister was just sharing some interesting thoughts about the future. Gravosh moved to the window, his yellow eyes reflecting the starlight. For millennia, the Krizat believed that technological advancement followed a single path. Energy manipulation was the pinnacle of evolution, and species who had not reached that stage were simply underdeveloped. He turned to face the humans. "We were wrong. Evolution takes many paths, creates many answers to the same questions. The Vren's organic technology, the Nurian gravitic systems, and humanity's unpredictability." "Is that what you call it?" Olivia asked with a raised eyebrow. "What would you call it, Doctor?" She considered for a moment. "Creativity, perhaps, or remembering the old while embracing the new." Gravosh made a gesture of acknowledgement. "The next threats we face may come from beyond the known galaxy. When they arrive, they will not face a single approach they must overcome, but 27 different ways of thinking." As they spoke, Ambassador Jack Reynolds arrived with Admiral Trell of the Norians. The former enemies now worked closely in the reformed Concord Council. The official alliance treaty has been ratified, Jack announced. All 27 species have signed. The Galactic Concord is now truly a partnership of equals. Later that evening, as celebrations echoed throughout the station, Lisa returned to the Defender to prepare for their journey home. On the bridge, she found a message waiting from Admiral Bradley. Captain Chen, the message began. You're next. Mission is to lead the first joint exploration fleet into the uncharted regions beyond the Perseus Arm. Your crew will include representatives from all conquered species. This mission represents everything we've fought for: cooperation, shared knowledge, and mutual respect. As Lisa read the mission details, she thought about the journey that had brought humanity from being the galaxy's joke to a respected voice in cosmic affairs. It hadn't been superior firepower or technology that made the difference. It had been a willingness to think differently, to remember the old ways while embracing the new, and most importantly, to turn apparent weakness into unexpected strength. The Defender's engines hummed to life as Lisa gave the order to depart. Behind them, ships from all 27 species formed in perfect harmony, a united front ready to face whatever the universe might throw at them next. The human weapons that were once a joke had become something else entirely, a bridge between worlds.